US President Donald Trump emphasized during a meeting with his Ukrainian counterpart, Volodymyr Zelensky, that Kiev should not expect the delivery of Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine in the near future, the Wall Street Journal reported, citing anonymous US officials. According to them, Trump prioritizes diplomacy over arms supply and hopes that Ukraine will not need Tomahawks. It should be noted that earlier, after meeting with Trump at the White House, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky stated that he would not make a statement regarding Tomahawks as Trump does not want escalation. But in the current situation, the postponement of the US-Russia meeting in Hungary could change Trump's plans again, as he is unhappy with Putin's avoidance of a negotiated solution to the war. Delivery of Tomahawks to Ukraine may be accelerated. The first confirmed Tomahawk target is the Yelabuga Shahed factory in Tatarstan, a giant drone assembly complex producing thousands of kamikaze drones that feed Russia's campaign of strikes on Ukrainian cities and infrastructure. Hitting Yelabuga with Tomahawk cruise missiles would be qualitatively different from Ukraine's long-range drone strikes, as Tomahawks carry far bigger warheads, 450 kilograms compared to the typical 80 to 120 kilograms for drones. Euromaidan Press media outlet reports. Tomahawks fly low using terrain-following navigation and satellite guidance and can be steered or programmed mid-flight. A handful of well-placed cruise missiles could crater production halls, destroy stockpiles, and sever critical production lines in a way that even the most advanced drones cannot. That destructive punch is why Yelabuga is being discussed as a priority target for when Tomahawk missiles arrive in Ukraine. Tomahawks are effective because of their combination of payload, range, and flight profile, giving Ukraine a striking capability it doesn't currently have. A single missile can carry a warhead capable of destroying hardened industrial facilities with terminal accuracy at ranges of over 1,600 to 2,500 kilometers, depending on the variants. Yet, the Tomahawks are not invulnerable, as their subsonic speed and flight paths can be contested by layered air defenses and interceptors if early warning systems are intact, Euromaidan Press says. This makes Ukraine's continued campaign to strip away Russian radar, electronic warfare, and air defense launchers extremely important, as this is what would make Tomahawk strikes feasible and lower the probability of interception. If delivered and employed, Tomahawks would not be limited to one factory, with the Institute for the Study of War reporting 1,655 military targets within the 1,600-kilometer range of the Tomahawk variants that Ukraine will receive. Even the destruction of some of them would cascade into logistics collapse. Major rail hubs and switching yards, critical bridges and river locks, key transformer substations and power plants that feed military districts, large ammunition depots and major repair or production centers. The Hudson Analytical Center has compiled a list of the most critical of these objects that Ukraine should strike first. Denying or degrading a handful of those nodes at the right time could choke the flow of fuel, shells, and spare parts that allow a massed Russian offensive to continue. A further strategic focus should be on the flow of material into Russia, disrupting key transport nodes within roughly 150 kilometers of major border crossings like bridges, rail sorting yards, junctions, and transport concentration points would degrade frontline sustainment, Euromaidan Press says. Routes through Crimea are particularly consequential. Damage to critical links, such as the Crimean Bridge or the Henichesk crossing, would have outsized effects on southern logistics. Likewise, interrupting vital rail arteries in the Western Military District, including major bridges, traction substations, and power transformers, would constrain force movement and resupply. Even indirectly, even by strikes on the region's electrical and rail infrastructure. Ukrainian planners already factor many of these nodes into their targeting cycles and have used domestically produced long-range systems to strike them. Employment of larger, long-range missiles would raise the scale of destruction these attacks could achieve. Concern is growing in Russia over Putin's possible trip to Hungary, according to the Daily Express. Former Foreign Intelligence Officer Andrei Bezrukov warned the Russian president of an alleged British assassination attempt. "Don't go to Budapest," Bezrukov declared on Russian television. He said the meeting with Donald Trump should be urgently moved to Dubai to avoid an absolutely treacherous operation by Britain. A former intelligence officer, now a professor at MGIMO and an advisor to Rosneft, stated that the entire mentality of the British elite is structured in such a way that if Putin is gone, the problem will disappear. He accused London of allegedly the collapse of the country and of the British authorities being ready to strike Russia for their own salvation. However, Bezrukov provided no evidence to support his claims. When asked by propagandist Vladimir Solovyov how to avoid an assassination attempt, Bezrukov suggested choosing another location. "There is a wonderful country, the United Arab Emirates." Solovyov remarked that Putin was so brave that he might actually go to Budapest. But Bezrukov countered, "Sometimes bravery isn't everything. The Supreme Commander-in-Chief represents the country, and the interests of the country are more important than the bravery of one man." The Kremlin has not officially confirmed Putin's trip to Hungary, but rumors of a possible meeting with Trump have intensified following Peskov's statements. Hungary remains the only EU country to have pledged not to execute the International Criminal Court's arrest warrant for the Russian president. Recall the world, but especially Ukraine, is currently awaiting a possible summit between US President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin. Will such a meeting actually take place? Who needs it and why? And is the issue of Budapest as the chosen host city irritating? Union spoke with Alexander Merezko, a member of parliament from the Servant of the People Party and the chairman of the Verkhovna Rada Committee on Foreign Policy and Interparliamentary Cooperation. "I doubt such a meeting will take place. I think it's a 50-50 chance right now. Frankly, I think Putin would be afraid to fly to Hungary at all because he's paranoid. He's afraid of assassination attempts and so on. He's afraid to fly through European airspace. He's afraid because, despite all the problems, Hungary remains a European democracy. A dictator can fly to a totalitarian country like China or North Korea and not be afraid. He can fly to a US military base because he knows the Americans can guarantee his safety there. But I doubt he dare fly to Budapest. Moreover, it's not that simple. First, Secretary of State Rubio and Lavrov need to meet. I think Trump doesn't want a repeat of the Alaska fiasco. And if, after this meeting between Lavrov and Rubio, Trump isn't confident that Putin is truly ready for serious negotiations, he might cancel the summit, because he doesn't want to embarrass himself a second time. And the fact is that Putin is not ready, and apparently never will be, for serious negotiations. The expert said,